Welcome to SUSECON 2022. I'm Keith Basil, General Manager of the Edge Business Unit. You heard Melissa mention that we aspire to become the most trusted and secure infrastructure stack in the market. Greg touched on the innovation we're building into enterprise container management, optimizing for cloud-native transformations. Marcus expounded on how our enterprise Linux products provide strong security, with Sleeve Micro being ideally suited for blended cloud-native and edge use cases. Today, I'm going to touch on why SUSE's edge computing offerings stand out in enabling your business applications to run where they're best suited. We're going to focus on pragmatic approaches to edge so that you can apply learnings to your specific environment and use cases. We will talk about what edge computing means to you, some of the challenges that you would want to be aware of, and while discussing those, we will show you a quick demonstration of real-world lifecycle management for edge devices. And finally, we will talk to Home Depot about how they are applying the cloud-native edge in their environments. And with that, let's get started. Last year, SUSE introduced a framework that clearly defines edge segments as near, far, and tiny. The near edge is the realm of the communications service providers. Here, we see edge solutions that support the global 5G rollout and multi-access edge computing services. We find most of the opportunity in the far edge segment. Here, you'll find retailers looking to bring applications in-store, supporting customer buying or employee functions. Think about mobile point-of-sale terminals, inventory management, logistics tracking, conversational AI, and more. Lastly, we see the strong emergence of the tiny edge segment in what we consider the industrial Internet of Things space. Within this segment, we find manufacturing or industrial companies deploying edge applications that support predictive maintenance and analytics value to the business. One exciting edge segment is the automotive industry, where next-generation software-defined vehicles and the services that support them will span every segment of the edge. New software-defined vehicles will be self-driving, fully connected, and intelligent. These are very exciting times. We are in the middle of an explosion of innovation in edge computing. The diversity and depth of innovation allows us to push applications to where they provide maximum value. This is the edge. SUSE's vision is to provide simple to use, open source, edge infrastructure management solutions, no matter the scale of your edge footprint. However, there are steep challenges in realizing this vision. We have a trifecta of factors that we must address. One, Kubernetes can be complex to manage. Two, edge deployments can introduce a level of scale that is not seen in the traditional enterprise. And three, operational teams have varying levels of resources and know-how to support their edge infrastructure. SUSE is one of the only companies in the world to be able to help you address that. Given these core challenges, we find that each customer's situation is different. One main theme driving our edge approach is the idea of meeting customers on their journey. With a joint desire to deploy a fully managed edge stack, our customers look across three different layers. These layers would be the application lifecycle management, the Kubernetes lifecycle management, and the operating system lifecycle management. As we address these layers, we must always be aware of security. Edge deployments introduce new threat vectors, requiring us to reassess and enforce the invisible thread of security across all three of those layers. Ideas around zero trust security approaches work extremely well for the edge, and there will be more talk about this in other SUSECON sessions. So, to recap, our journey must address the management of applications, Kubernetes, the operating system, all at scale. And SUSE is uniquely positioned to address all of these. I mentioned scale earlier. In this journey to scale, what does scale really mean in the real world? Well, it means that the home improvement retailer Home Depot has taken an edge-native approach to managing business value at over 2,300 stores. It means that a highly skilled team in the fast food space manages over 2,500 restaurants as independent edge locations. It also means that a global healthcare company sees over 24,000 medical devices as separate, independent, self-contained, far-edge locations. There are many more examples, and the takeaway is that with each unique opportunity, we adapt to and support each customer's journey to scale. If you need an embedded and edge-optimized Linux, we can support you. Are you just getting started with containers and Kubernetes for the edge? We can support you. Do you need help in defining an edge hardware profile? We can support you. Looking to implement zero trust-based security at the edge? We can support you. What's wonderful about our journey to scale is that we can meet you where you are today and in the future. SUSE core values are strong here, and we are confident in being the 12th person on your team. I'm a huge fan of American football, so in football lingo, this means being your ultimate champion. Our mission is to empower you to be the superhero in your journey, and we at SUSE always have your back. We are here to enable your success. We are excited to tell you our edge story. Our edge solutions are a great example of how SUSE has brought together the best-in-class enterprise Linux with container management platforms. What's unique here is that our edge approach checks the boxes in meeting the challenges we find in the cloud-native edge. We have Rancher, the best container management software. We have K3S, the world's best lightweight Kubernetes engine. We have the best edge-optimized operating system in the form of Sleep Micro. We are leading in this space, and we intend to extend our lead by evolving these building blocks into the strongest business value possible and to push this value where it's needed most. In fact, our advantages so far eclipse the competition that many customers found it hard to believe during our engagements. To bring home this value, let us showcase real software that addresses real-world challenges at the edge. And with that statement, let's get started. Nearly all of the edge use cases can be broken down into the notion of day one and day two challenges. In our demo, we will reference day one and day two operations to illustrate processes that meet application, Kubernetes, operating system, and scale challenges we've discussed. Day one is all about standing up that initial cluster at the edge in the most efficient way possible. A large focus of day one enables zero-touch provisioning of our remote hardware. We want the remote user experience to be clear and easy, thus removing the need for highly skilled resources being present at every edge location. The experience should simply involve connecting clusters to power, plugging into the network, and pressing the on button. Software should do the rest. For simplicity, we've broken down day one into 4 broad areas: onboarding, machine registration, role assignment and cluster creation, and then finally, application deployment. So let's actually talk about onboarding. The onboarding process is the first step in edge deployment. Remember, our goal is to preserve the precious human resources and bring as much automation to the process as possible. For cloud-native edge deployments, Rancher is uniquely positioned to support our goals. For onboarding, we need to enable Rancher's new onboarding services. These services provide us with target data that we'll use to build an onboarding image. Next, we create an onboarding image with an innovative new tool called Elemental, which can target bare metal, cloud, or virtual machine images for onboarding. And lastly, the onboarding image contains software that interacts with the trusted platform module within each node and contains intelligence on how to build Kubernetes clusters, both of which we'll use later. And when we move on to machine registration, this is where the magic starts to appear. As downstream nodes boot your specific onboarding image, the onboarding software generates a cryptographic hash that uniquely identifies the node. And because we embedded the target data for your Rancher management server, these remote nodes essentially phone home to inform Rancher of their presence. Registration also includes customer-specific metadata such as store number, physical address, network adjacency, and more. And when it comes to role assignment, Once our machines are registered and populated into the machine inventory, we can then select them and assign roles to kick off cluster creation. Because we included the intelligence to build a cluster in the onboarding image, we can now build an RKE2 or a K3S cluster on demand. This is what makes the onboarding image so powerful. After creation, the edge cluster now shows up in Rancher for management as normal. And our last step in day one is about bringing the applications on board. And to illustrate the power of reusing established cloud-native approaches, all we need to do is label our newly created edge cluster so that Rancher can continuously deliver and kick off that feature for an automated deployment of our application stacks. As you can see, Fleet is Rancher's answer to management at scale. In our demo, we've staged open source software that demonstrates addressing the industrial IoT space with a combination of artificial intelligence and machine learning. So let's actually review what we've done. We've onboarded a machine with SLE Micro. We've registered our downstream nodes with Rancher. We've had Rancher build a K3S cluster, and we've assigned and deployed our application stack with Fleet. That application stack highlights a few things. Number one, we deployed NuVector for security. We deployed our AI ML framework and models, and we deployed Ocri, an open source project that addresses management of the industrial IoT space. You know, talking about the software we deployed is important, but the impact of what we've done here doesn't really come through in a demo. So let's step back a bit and take a look at the big picture. We are in the middle of an intersection between cloud-native transformation and a strong demand for compute at the edge. The demand at the edge will only increase as we start to address what we call the tiny edge and the projected 75 billion devices expected to be online by 2025. What we are demonstrating is essentially a microcosm of the journey to scale. And here's what needs to be critically understood. We went essentially from bare metal to an application stack that recognizes the industrial IoT devices and embraces those devices in a useful way to provide value. On stage, we have the simplest representation of that entire journey. This 32 gig single node cluster is running SLE Micro, K3S, NuVector for security, and Ocri for industrial IoT protocol discovery. We also have a machine learning application that does recognition of images. So given the stack we just described, we've created a simple demo that provides insight into what's possible at the edge. If I place a SUSE plush toy in front of this camera, a camera, by the way, that was discovered by Ocri, we now have a workload that will use its machine learning model to recognize it as an object. If this was a retail location, we could provide discounts to customers holding the chameleon, for example. There's quite a bit going on here behind the scenes, and we are just getting started. In visiting day two, we recognized that the only thing constant is change. Today, Rancher does a phenomenal job at managing containerized applications in Kubernetes. Earlier, we highlighted operating system lifecycle management, so let's walk through what that looks like with our new management capabilities. We roughly have 3 steps for day 2 operations. Number 1, we pull a new and updated OS image. Number 2, we determine which downstream clusters we'd like to upgrade. And then 3, we trigger the upgrade. And so SUSE's new Elemental framework provides automated upgrades based on SLE Micro. Elemental reuses a container build flow to build an operating system and wraps it into a container file format for pushing into standardized registries. The combination of SLE Micro's certified build chain value and the cloud-native approach bring a tremendous amount of value to the edge. Upgrading the downstream clusters can be as simple as upgrading the target OS image tag for that cluster. Rancher allows for full and precise control over the upgrade process. With the detection of the new OS image tag, Rancher automatically builds the upgrade plan and starts the process across your downstream clusters. Upgrade plans can be precisely set to have little to no impact on application availability. This process benefits from an image-based upgrade model. Here, we download the new image, we lay it down on a B partition. The older partition is preserved in case we need to roll back. And it's important to note here that the Kubernetes binaries and the cluster state data are not affected as they reside on a separate persistent partition. After the new image is laid down, the node reboots into the new B partition and rejoins the cluster as an active member. Everything demonstrated here is API driven. This means that the processes can be automated via external tooling. You have the freedom to pick and choose and build infrastructure management flows as you see fit. Again, to emphasize, this is real working software with GA availability in Rancher later this year. Please feel free to scan the QR code to create this demo on your own. What you saw was ease and simplicity in managing functional edge devices, including early insight into the industrial IoT space. Overall, a seamless experience with full lifecycle management was presented. What can you expect? We will remain focused on the scale challenge, ease of management, and security. What does this mean for you? You can deploy edge solutions with confidence. It means that we can meet your needs and we can establish your competitive advantages and sustain them. SUSE is leading the cloud-native edge market. Adoption continues to grow. We created the world's most widely used lightweight Kubernetes distribution. We are leveraging cloud-native best practices to rapidly extend value to the edge. And with SLE Micro, we have a world-class edge-focused operating system. We had the opportunity to catch up with Zach Harden, who leads a team focused on containerized platforms at Home Depot. Let's see how the cloud-native edge is transforming their business.
So I'm happy to welcome Zach Harden to SUSECON. So Zach, first I want to thank you for basically carving out time to meet with us for SUSECON. It's always a pleasure to talk shop with leaders in the cloud-native ecosystem, particularly around the edge. So before we kick off, tell us who you are and what you do for Home Depot.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for inviting me. Excited to be here. My role at Home Depot is I'm an infrastructure manager, and our team focuses on several things, one of which is our edge runtime component across Home Depot. So we spend a lot of time talking about edge challenges that brings and how we solve them.
Okay, so I'm a big fan of Home Depot. I'm there at least twice a month. So if I was to walk into a store, just if I could look behind the scenes at all the infrastructure running in that location, what's going on there? I mean, analytics, inventory, point of sale. Talk to us about that a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, edge for us spans a wide range of needs and applications, from stores to distribution centers to remote offices. Our strategy is really to deliver a consistent way for applications to get to the edge, and really provide innovation and the ability to deliver our interconnected retail experience. And so if you look at the store, anything from online pickup in store to inventory to POS is all supported with edge compute at the Home Depot.
So Zach, you guys are doing great things at the edge. Is it my understanding that you've kind of standardized on a Kubernetes / cloud native approach for all things Home Depot?
Yeah, absolutely. The runtime is centered around Kubernetes with some exterior components that allow us to present easy integration for our application teams, developers, improve customer experience, and our associates that support stores.
Okay, excellent. So, from our side, we see a lot of edge opportunities globally. And so there's been these consistent challenges that we've seen for the scale of these deployments. So you've got, Kubernetes, without the right tooling, as you know, can be very challenging to manage, right? And so I think you guys have a footprint of over 2,200 stores, which if you're deploying Kubernetes across that footprint, that is very impressive. So what, key challenges and pain points have you experienced with this particular deployment?
Yeah, if I look at the top three challenges, scale obviously has to be number one, right? Our edge environment is large and presents several unique challenges, but we see having a common platform with Kubernetes at the edge, this one centered around a single binary experience with K3S, enables us to deploy, update, secure the underlying container platform quickly than traditional full stack Kubernetes. Secondarily, resiliency is top of mind for us. With edge compute, consistent communication is never guaranteed. Providing a resilient edge-based runtime allows us to increase resiliency around those areas. As Home Depot, unfortunately, we do operate in some areas where natural disasters happen, right? Our core value drives us to give back to our community we serve. Having the management platform and K3S allows us to rest easy that will be available even in disconnected scenarios, ensuring workloads are running smoothly.
Yeah, so that's really interesting. You've almost preempted my next question, right? So over the years in the cloud space, we've learned that simplicity scales, right? And so we've embraced that level of thinking here in the Edge BU, and you can see that materialize in the form of K3S, which is our lightweight Kubernetes engine. You've described it pretty much in your answer there. So there's obvious value in K3S. If there's any more that you can speak to on that, that would be great. But if I think the world kind of recognizes that K3S is the leading, single binary edge-based Kubernetes offering. Tell us about, anything additional for K3S and possibly describe the technology stack that you're using.
Yeah, typically across the edge, we run a small HA cluster setup. As you mentioned, it's roughly 2,200 clusters we operate in production at scale. K3S provides us a few different experiences. One is the HA availability and resiliency that we need for our business. At the edge is also a standalone mode. Standalone mode allows us to build immutable on-demand QA clusters for our developers. So it helps us serve multiple use cases from QA, fast iterative testing, all the way through production workloads and resiliency.
Excellent, excellent. And, the other thing that we've noticed is that when we entertain these opportunities for edge deployments, customers have varying levels of maturity, right? So, you have a stellar team. It's always great to talk to the Home Depot team. Very smart guys. And so you have a very sophisticated approach. There's standardization across all your locations. But what we've seen is that other opportunities in the edge, there's not that level of maturity, right? And so we like to meet the customer where they are as they walk along that journey to scale. So looking forward, what do you see for Home Depot in the next 5 years, 10 years, next 6 months? Just what's the vision going forward for Home Depot?
Yeah, absolutely. Technology, especially the technology landscape, moves fast. So I don't know that I can predict next month versus 5 years. What I do see is additional features in Kubernetes being released that makes ease of adoption that much easier, right? We're abstracting more and more infrastructure components, which build speed to market. And then we're also seeing, IoT, AI, and ML starting to look at edge use cases. So that's going to unlock a lot of features as we move forward, right? So we're happy to see what that provides us in the next several years. Ultimately, day to day, we're focused on improving the customer experience and the experience of our store associates.
Yeah, that's a great point. And one thing that I want to key on that you said is that, by us having this kind of standardized cloud native Kubernetes like infrastructure, it allows us to get that speed to market, that agility going forward, and to bring on these new applications in a competitive situation. So I think you guys are killing it in the space, man. I really love what you guys are doing. I'm so proud of the team and the technology that we are bringing to the table to help you guys win. So is there anything that we can do to help you going forward? I know this is kind of live in the SUSECON thing, but I'm going to put you on the spot and say, look, this is the chance to tell us what we need to do better to keep the relationship going and move faster.
Yeah, I would say keep focusing on the gnarly problems at the edge. Rancher and K3 has solved a ton of those for us. Also, keep flexibility. As we mentioned, we use K3S in a few different ways to solve needs for our business, and having that flexibility is really key for us to solve our business problems.
Oh, that's excellent. So thank you for that. We'll take that advice. And Zach, I want to thank you and the team behind the Home Depot Edge deployment. Again, you guys are rock stars. We love working with you, and we wish you the best and success in the world. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Sure.
They say if you want to go far, travel together. We're excited to have HPE join us on our collective journey to scale.
We are so excited to be joined today by HPE GreenLake Cloud Services Vice President, HPE Fellow, Chief Technology Officer, and Chief Architect, Vinay Saxena. Thank you for joining me today, Vinay, and thank you for your support and partnership in our 25 plus year history of doing business together. We continue to see HPE make significant advances to HPE GreenLake. Can you please talk to us a little about the past year and the advancements you've made to your edge to cloud platform?
Keith, thank you for having me with your customers today. It's really exciting to be here to talk about the advancements that we have made in our transformation as an edge to cloud platform company. Every part of HP is transforming. And within our own business, which is the GreenLake Cloud Services and Solutions business, we have released some exciting capabilities around VMs, containers, bare metal, SAP, MLOps, which is a joint offering that we are working with your team. We're really excited to deliver these capabilities, which allows our customers to build cloud native applications on-prem and really leverage everything that they get in a modern hyperscaler environment, web portals, APIs, CLIs, the DevOps, the CI/CD capabilities. With SUSE, what we have done is help launch a new innovative set of core underlying capabilities, and especially in solutions like MLOps and Edge, we have partnered great deal of engineering collaboration to deliver really exciting capabilities for our customers that allows them to transform and really solve their problems. And that's what we are trying to do as both HP and SUSE.
Wow, that's a very diverse set of updates and very exciting updates. It seems that you guys have been very busy. You know, at SUSE, we know what an important partner HPE GreenLake is. Can you expand on how SUSE fits into the GreenLake strategy? And specifically, what are you doing for our joint customers at the edge?
Absolutely. Look, as part of the joint development and service delivery that we are partnering with SUSE, we are building all of the foundational capabilities that underpin the cloud services that we deliver to our customers. SUSE Linux, SUSE Manager, K3S on the edge are foundational core building blocks. And these building blocks forms the underpinning for how we deliver edge to cloud services. Couple this with capabilities like Rancher K3S, Rancher Fleet Manager on how we manage large fleets of deployment across core data centers and edge. We bring all of these things together with the right level of automation, friction-free edge cloud-native solutions that scale, perform, and allow the customers to run really critical workload applications on the edge.
Yeah, that's really interesting. We're kind of in the same scenario where we see basic building blocks from a cloud native perspective. And what we wind up doing is we're moving like the cloud infrastructure, the data center infrastructure to these very hostile and locations at the edge. And so our security positioning has to change. So with the edge diversity around, various industries like healthcare, manufacturing, and retail, can you talk about number one, some of the use cases we're seeing at the edge, and then given that security theme, what is the security strategy that you see, and why is that so important?
Yeah, so look, security is vitally critical for our customers, especially as we look at edge. These systems are not sitting in a classical data center. They're sitting on the factory floors. They have to be ruggedized. They have to be secured from foundation up, from silicon all the way to the operating environment and the workloads. So with silicon root of trust, tying into SLA Linux, SLA Micro, the workloads, how do we tie the workloads to a silicon root of trust, and then making sure they are signed, the systems have FIPS certification, and delivering on advanced analytics, running high performance GPUs on the edge, and making sure that the models, the data sets are secure, have access controls on the data, and the right governance and compliance around the data. All of these things are critical, and what we have done jointly between the two teams is to bring this IP together and deliver, with critical automation and seamless ability to manage workloads from edge to the cloud. And giving the customer the peace of mind that they expect from a company like HP and SUSE to make sure that they can trust edge applications running, like you said, in a very diverse edge environment, which could be a factory floor to a shopping mall where a point of sale system is running. Giving the customer that peace of mind is huge with our silicon root of trust and work we are doing with SUSE on platform security, container security, uh, container signing, and so forth. So we are really excited about these capabilities.
Yeah, that's very impressive. What I really like about the HPE SUSE partnership is that the vision, the strategy, the service offerings, they're very complementary, right? And so,
Right.
Speaking on the SUSE side, how do you think we can help you meet the needs that you've outlined?
So look, as a GreenLake business unit, we've started working with you almost, 4 years ago, since the inception of the GreenLake software business unit. And we share a set of common themes. Look, you have a significant set of cloud native capabilities. We have a great deal of infrastructure platform capabilities. And if we join forces, this is a very large market that is strategically important for both the companies. And if jointly we can work together in solving our customers' problem, the market is there. The customers like both the companies. They want solutions from us. We have examples of our joint work, our customers like CareStream and others who really value the solutions that we bring. And look, the market is big. We want our sellers to be excited about the capabilities we're bringing, the customer problems that we are solving, and in the end, helping our customers achieve what they really need to achieve success on their side.
Vinay, I want to thank you because this relationship is one that makes me smile because of let me just put it this way. These are very exciting times for edge computing, right? And again, the complementary nature of our joint strategy, we are thrilled to have, SUSE partnering with HPE on our journey to customer success. So Vinay and HPE, I would like to thank you for joining us here at SUSECON, and to much success to both companies in the future.
Thank you, Keith, for having me.
The SUSE Edge showcases a first and natural integration of SUSE and Rancher, a shining example of best-in-class Linux and best-in-class Kubernetes delivering exceptional value to customers across industries. As you saw in the demo, we have a deep focus on lifecycle management. Looking forward, we will double down in a few areas. One, continuous OS management. We intend to provide simpler and easier to manage deployment of the operating system with focus on going deeper with security. Two, productization of the industrial IoT space. The industrial IoT space today is highly fragmented, and we see frameworks like Akri as being essential to bringing the industrial IoT devices into the cloud-native ecosystem. SUSE is on track to be the first to offer an open source solution to manage the industrial IoT space. This is significant. There are billions of devices. We've always projected that the tiny edge was going to be large, and the law of large numbers will kick in heavily in this tiny edge space. And third, we're going to focus on more comprehensive bare metal provisioning and management. Addressing requirements in the near edge segment, lights out bare metal management will be addressed next. The vision is to extend Kubernetes to provide remote console administration for data center grade machines deployed at the edge. The fundamental takeaway is that we will help enable your business applications to run where they're best suited. We are very confident in our open source approach. SUSE's successful 30 years in open source is living proof of what can be imagined with the mindset of openness and sharing with a community of developers, customers, and advocates. In closing, I'd like to reiterate Melissa's invitation for you to join SUSE in the Share the Meal Challenge. Together, let's support the United Nations World Food Program and deliver 30,000 meals to victims of the war in Ukraine. Share the Meal makes it easy to help from your smartphone or browser. Just follow the QR code on your screen, and with a few taps on your phone, and for less than $1, you can provide a meal to someone in need. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of your SUSECON experience.